the People's Podcast. What's up, y'all? This is DJ Busby.
And it's your boy JKD.
And this is the People's Podcast. We're back with another one today. Got a very special guest in the building. This person is no stranger to your social medias. You must have, especially if you're connected in the West Indian scene, you must have seen a hilarious clip from this gentleman right here. Very peculiar name, which I think we're going to open the podcast to talk about.
Right.
And not only that, but a jack of all trades. He does many other things, such as podcasting himself.
Right.
He's on YouTube, and he also is the guy behind the camera sometimes. And he does his photography in events, personalized events, private events, etc. So without further ado, we would like to welcome to the People's Podcast none other than Senior Gum Boy.
Yes. What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
No problem.
AKD, Buzz B, you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here.
Anytime. Now, again, the name. So the first thing is first, because, you seem like a normal person. We talk, we're cool.
Right.
But then you hear the name and you're like, wait a minute.
Where did this guy get this name from?
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most asked question people ask me. But yeah, it's it all started way back when I was a local youth in Jamaica, and my uncle, actually my grandfather used to call me Senior Gun Boy. I don't know why. It was just he just used to call me that, and it could have been the rum or whatever. I don't know. But when it was time, I was making my YouTube channel. I wanted to think of a name that was kind of unique, something that probably no one had, and just something that kind of reminded me of where I came from and staying true to my roots. And that's just kind of what came to mind. And it wasn't taken at the time. So it just. Yeah,
dope.
Yeah,
it's very unique to you because, you're the one and only.
Right.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, talk about that. You just talked about, getting into the YouTube space.
Mm-hmm.
So is that really where it all started?
You were mentioning it earlier with the whole photography and stuff like that. And I would equate my YouTube success to really photography, and that's kind of what really gave me I guess a need for creative expression, the eye for setting up shots and having my videos look a certain way, and just going and getting out there and not really being as shy, maybe contrary to popular belief. As a kid, I was pretty shy, right? Like I was pretty quiet. And through photography, it got me into the videos, and yeah, it's just been I guess a roller coaster ride from there. Crazy.
And talk about, I guess, if that's the case, talk about photography. What's that journey been like?
Well, that journey, it all started. I just so happened to get like a job at this photo lab years back, and we did a lot of like pro printing for like professional photographers and stuff like that. And just day in day out working with the photos and all that, just you just gain appreciation for it. And I've always appreciated art and expression and all that. Music and all these things are just expressions of art, right? And we were doing a college's photos, and the people that we were with, I was helping them. I just like, oh, this is great, because for me, I've always wanted a career in something where I never really knew what it was, but I always knew I wanted to meet new people and travel. Those were kind of like my two prerequisites. And then within photography, that kind of, just showed me that. And I jumped in. I spent a bag of money, like a good, $2,000 or so on a camera, and didn't really know how to use it. And learned, volunteered, read, all these things. And photography, I started to do like events here in Toronto. I did one event, some people asked who did it, and then people just kind of asked me to shoot their event. And
when you talk about photography, are we going back to where like, you still have to develop your pictures and put them in
no.
in the liquid?
I got in when digital. When it was kind of transitioning from I guess film to digital, or digital was a little. Because my first camera was definitely a digital camera.
Okay.
And shout out to the Fuji S5 Pro. I think it was my first camera.
All right.
And so it just really gave me a certain eye, and just building from there, and it's always been a a debate for myself, with the photography and the YouTube world, which one, do I go with? But
Right.
I've kind of figured out a system now where I could just kind of do both, right? And it keeps me happy and creative.
Nice.
Dope.
Okay.
Now, it again, these avenues have channeled different emotions out in you, I would say, when it comes to like humor and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same thing. I was the timid, shy kid that was in paper, and when I had to do my presentation, I'm literally there shivering with the piece of paper.
Yeah.
And can't read in front of like 30 classmates.
Yeah.
We don't
But
read now, but it's okay.
But you should see him now when he's on the mic talking to people's daughters,
Yes, let's not let that breeze by. He's not a good person. He's not a nice person at all. Let's not let that breeze by. But yes, facts. Now, I'm in front of thousands of people doing my thing. And I would say, very similarly with you, you're a shy kid. This has brought out, an avenue for you to be a public figure, so to speak, and make jokes for thousands, if not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people online.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk about that, and how did that, were you always a funny guy, or did you learn that?
All right. First of all, we don't have to say it like that. Okay, we have to pause that. What was I always a humorous individual? We'll say that. All right.
Funny man.
Was I always a humorous individual? I mean, I guess you can say so. I mean, I've always had a, I guess, active imagination.
Okay.
A lot of video games as a kid, shows, and also just appreciation for movies. Because for me, I guess I would say my style of skits is, I would consider it like movie-esque.
Right.
Like I set them up with, a beginning, middle, and end. I try to get props in there and try to insert like little subliminals and stuff like that, right? So yeah, like I mean, as a shy kid, it just, the videos just really kind of helped me, break out, find a voice. And I've always just liked interacting with people, right? So for me, it's always like human connection.
Right.
Is one of the things that I really love, and even why photography was it kind of drew me there, because I like I said, I always want to meet new people. And I really feel like if I didn't really get into the videos or photography or something like that, I would have been like, something to do with psychology or something like that. Or like just the way like human behavior like really fascinates me. So, that's just kind of how I, mix it all in there.
Right.
Dope. And, we have seen you obviously especially for me, I've seen you on IG many a times. Hilarious skits. I guess the first thing, where do you think of these things? Like, is it under a meds, or you just you wake up one day and you had a crazy dream, like, let me put this down? Like,
honestly, it's just a lot of random times. A lot of my I guess kind of Caribbean skits and stuff like that are usually, family members, friends, things that are within the culture that I'll just kind of take inspiration from, and those times when something happens and the situation went one way, and you're like, I should have cussed that guy, if I could go back in the situation. So it's a lot of me just kind of going over things that happen and just what if it went this way instead, and it'll just be kind of like the spark that will inspire a skit or something like that, right? So yeah, I just find a lot of inspiration from life, really.
Okay.
Nice. And what would you say is your most popular skit, or the one that caused the most like blow up in what you do?
I would say probably the driving skits.
Okay.
A lot of people like those ones on YouTube. I did one with a good friend of mine. It was a Jamaican versus a Trini driving skit.
Okay.
That one blew up.
Good evening.
Right, what's going on?
My name is Mr. Brown. Nice to meet you, Mr. Gaylor.
Gaylor.
Gaylor. Can I treat you?
Yeah, Gaylor. What you just said?
Nothing. We just need you to take a left outside the parking lot there, and then we'll get on our way, Mr. Chief. Okay.
I left outside the parking lot.
Yes, so right over there, sir.
I left right there?
Over there, sir.
I left right there.
No, right? Not right here.
No.
Over there, sir.
I left right there, so.
So over there, sir, man.
It's not that I just said? Just go take a left right here.
Yeah, on the three people, man. I don't learn to talk, so, man.
What do you mean?
I can't talk proper.
Are the Queen English?
All right, so
one of my earlier ones is like where got like a few million views was like how men get ready for for the daggering.
Right.
And that
Yes.
Well, we can't do housework and we can't cook. On to her.
DJ, fresh like water, me roll out clean as my heart. Touch on the beach, girl I scream and I talk. Over 36, baby, picture me and cheer me and the bar. Clean up, clean up, clean up, clean up. Every day I make clean.
that one went pretty viral, I guess. And yeah, there's been a few. So
Okay.
I'm always happy when people just take to them.
Right.
It's always great when they do a lot more views, but it's for me it's more so about like the connection, and I always like to think if this one skit helped somebody in their day, made them feel better, then I did something,
Right.
I did something,
Right.
or inspired someone, right?
Right. Let's go back a bit because I want to know like what actually drove you to hop on YouTube and hop on doing these skits. Like, was there somebody that was saying, "Hey, man, you're funny. You should be doing this. You should be doing that." Like, what was that moment that made you decide, yeah, I need to be on YouTube?
I think it was just like maybe like around 2012 or something like that.
Right.
When I think YouTube wasn't really like, just a bunch of random people,
Right.
it was kind of
Right.
starting to build up a little bit more.
Right.
And I think I saw a couple videos. I was like, oh, those are kind of, those are funny.
Right.
And at that time, I was in my creative spirits and whatnot. So I thought, hey, let me just try and make a video, because I was just writing ideas down.
Right.
And I made that video. It did pretty well, decent. And then like a year later, I made another one. And then like a year after that, or I heard that, you can make money on YouTube, like from the video. I was like, oh shoot, like man, they're trying to get their passive income up, y'all, like, So yeah, so it was kind of like I got serious about it because I wanted to make money.
Right.
But as I went on, like, and you don't really make that much money, right? When especially when you're first starting out on YouTube, it was just more so for a way for me to express and whatnot and be creative is what I kind of fell in love with more.
Right.
And I just continued on, and it's brought me a lot of cool opportunities, got to meet a lot of cool people. So
Right.
yeah, it's dope. It's dope.
Okay.
So for any aspiring people that want to be on you, any people aspiring to be on YouTube, let them kind of know, as you said, when you start, you're not really making anything.
Yeah.
Let them know about how to get that check, or like the processes involved, and real actionable steps.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if this is a number one thing, but it's definitely within top 3 or top 2. Consistency. Just like with anything in life, right? But and just as fellas, we know with the ladies, when they talk, oh, we need some consistency, like we need some consistency, like I just, it's consistency, right?
Yeah.
With anything in life, you need consistency. Whether it be showing up for your friends, right? For your job, whatever it is, you need to be consistent, because if you're not consistent, you'll never grow.
Right.
The audience that you're trying to build and nurture, they're gonna be always left wondering, like, where are you? One of the early examples is like, whatever your favorite show right now, anybody that's watching House of Dragons, big up, right? If that show was scheduled for 9 p.m. every Thursday, and then it was dropping, Sunday at 4, after a while you'd be like, yo, like, why am I,
Right.
So consistency is definitely like top 2. And like an actual passion for it. Like, you actually have to enjoy it because you enjoy it, and not because like you want people to think you're cool or a certain way you're trying to impress people or money and all of that. It's actually because it makes you happy.
Right.
Because when there's no one there watching their videos and whatnot, and you're not getting those little, dopamine hits from the likes and stuff like that.
Right.
If you don't actually enjoy it, you're not going to continue it. And you're going to be inconsistent, and you're going to be doubting yourself, and you're going to have all these, negative thoughts. So you actually have to enjoy what you're doing and what you're talking about, or whatever your niche is, right? And yeah, collaborations are key, right? Because if this person has an audience there and you have an audience, that's for me. I think that's one of my biggest things. I've always wanted to work, like, no matter what your audience size is, if I think you're doing something dope, and hopefully you think I'm doing something dope, then let's get together and do something great,
Okay.
right? For our audiences, right? To enjoy.
Right.
And yeah, invest in yourself. One of the things a lot of people, I think, is people are cheap. All you cheap people
Right.
who think that you could just start something and then and people are just gonna hop on it,
Right.
and you deserve it because you no.
Right.
Okay.
I just want to say the entire staff behind the scenes is pointing at JKD right now,
Why?
saying
I'm-
You're cheap, me.
I'm not cheap. man.
Cheap. Why?
that's not out of the ballpark right now.
Okay. I wouldn't dog it like that. But like, okay, it doesn't. I'll pull back a little because
You tell about this
I'm
shirt-
not cheap. I
this
just
shirt
know
costs $30.
you're frugal.
Yo, let me
I'm
get
not
it for
frugal.
25.
I'm not frugal. I like to bargain.
okay.
See, that's not being cheap. That's not cheap.
It's cheap. Well, okay, so I'll say this. Also, like, I'm not saying to go out and buy, most expensive camera and whatnot, because even if you buy the most expensive camera, you still have to have the knowledge to know how to use it,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
So, don't be cheap in the sense of like, if you buy this expensive camera, pay the money or whatever for the course so you can learn how to use it properly, right? So be smart in your investment. So I'm not saying I'll go out here and shell out a bunch of money, because then you're idiot, right? But just be smart with your investments, right? So if you don't have the money to buy the camera, use your iPhone, right? And if you don't have the money to buy the bigger camera, then buy the lights, which are cheaper, which will help your iPhone look at a better quality, right? And then once you start to build, then you spend your money here and invest wisely, right? But I always say, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, like money, dollars, right? And your goal is to make money or do whatever from this thing, then why should anyone spend money on you if you're not even willing to spend money on yourself, right?
That's a huge gem.
So that's just how I look at it. But everybody's different. But that's just me, at least.
No, you're absolutely right, and the people need to hear stuff like that. Do you do, besides everything you do you do this full time, or do you have a 9-to-5 attached to that as well?
No, I mean, for me, I guess my 9-to-5 has always been in the creative space. For years I was shooting graduation photos, so a lot of the times if you look at my older videos, I was like constantly in a hotel, and it required me to basically drive out Sunday, stay in like Windsor, wherever for like a week, come back Friday. I'll be shooting a party like Friday night, shooting a party Saturday, do my laundry early Sunday morning, drive out, spend the week out there, shoot the video. So, yeah, it was. I'm after. Sometimes you have to pat yourself on the back. So when you kind of look back at it, and because it was, while you're going through this, like, it's just this crazy whirlwind ride. But, yeah, I've was doing that, and now, yeah, just YouTube, photography, and vibes.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Now what that YouTube check look like?
What that YouTube check these days? To be honest, I haven't uploaded a YouTube video for at least maybe 6 months.
Oh
Wow. Okay.
And for me, YouTube kind of like the whole system changed. I found YouTube just like want to become like the Disney Channel, right? Ever since that gal Sue, I don't know her name, but that new CEO, like, anyways, let me.
Don't take it.
Don't take it out soon. No, okay, I won't. But yeah, I mean, at a low end, maybe $100. At a high end, maybe $3,000. Depending on how you're doing. I know some other creators, they're pulling in maybe 10.
Bro.
But it's hard work. It's hard work. It's not no. You upload a video and then I'm viral. It happens, but that is, I don't know what the numbers on it that is, but I can guess that's 1 in like 10,000 or something like that, right? If that, who gets that that hit like that. So it really is just dedication, consistency, and actually loving what you're doing, right? To really build that audience and hopefully monetize from it, right? And to be honest, a lot of, as a creator, you won't make the most money off YouTube, right? As a creator, you really gotta kind of diversify your portfolio,
Right.
So maybe a product, or if you are, say for example, your whole thing is photography, right? Then you come up with a Lutz pack or something like that where people can download and pay for that or something like that, right? So depending on what your niche is, you really kind of gotta diversify to see some better return where you can actually live and build and just be a good member of society or something, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they always say various sources of income, regardless of what you do, is important. YouTube, and when we're talking about that space, like almost everybody could probably, if you watch YouTube, you probably know about the guy MKBHD, and that's normally, obviously, and that's normally my like go-to when I reference the potential of YouTube.
Yeah,
that kid, he's 28, I think now, has a multi-million-dollar studio, employs I think 10 plus people. And they are creating some masterpieces worth of videos that could stand the test of time. And it's stuff like that where if you really zone in on your skills and own it, you could see a serious future in all of this. Yeah. There was a guy I used to work with that's on YouTube, and he's doing it in the similar lines of MKBHD. His name's Carl Conrad, but he's doing phone reviews, tech reviews, all those things.
Yeah.
I watched the other day a YouTube video that he did, and it was just him going over his life, like the luxuries that you're just able to sit behind the camera and just go through your life. And there's thousands of people that care. But I say that to say there was a part of the video where his parents, I think, gave him their previous house. He moved them to $1 million condo, and he's demolishing that house in like a neighborhood where it's all old houses. Yeah, demolishing the house and building up $1 million $1 million plus futuristic household. Wow. And like he's showing the blueprints that I guess the craftsmen or designers have done to us. Like, this is what my house will look like.
Well, you don't want to be in Toronto. Remember that story in Toronto where the man tried to build his house and they're like, and the neighbors were hating.
Oh yeah,
they're looking at a monstrosity. Some people are bud mind, you know.
Facts. And then we'll do stupidness to your property, but I'm just saying all that to say there's serious potential in that space.
Yeah, no, for sure. If you look at who is it? The top YouTubers of
Casey Neistat, like.
Casey, what's the kid? Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Ryan's Toy Reviews.
My God.
Right? He's what, like 12, maybe now, if that, and he's on us out here. Like his bank account is making us look stupid out here. Like
I just seen a recent clip. I think Andrew Schultz. He was interviewing some guy from YouTube. I don't know who he was, but he was saying that there's going to be a bunch of YouTube billionaires this year. They're actually hitting that $1 billion mark.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's crazy to think, but I look at it as like it's just as time goes on, things shift. Right. And the regular kind of TV stream, it's not that anymore. And even I feel to this day, some people still look at YouTube and the whole online space of just like, oh, it's just like a little joke thing. Right. You're just there playing around. Go get a real job. It's like those type of mentalities and whatnot. Right. But the world this is not the same world as it was. Even 20 years ago. Right. So, if I always say, if you don't, get with it, you're going to end up looking like Blockbuster, right? Right. Like, look at Blockbuster. They thought they were, king of the hill. And then Netflix came along, right? In a digital sense, shifted up the whole thing. And where's Blockbuster now? Right. They're nowhere. Yep. Right.
And that to me was where I was about to draw a reference to Netflix and YouTube in comparison. Think about the fact that Netflix is spending millions, if not billions of dollars for their content, and then have to rely on a subscription base where they are trying to pipe down on, you can't share your account with this one now. There's only a 2-account limit too. So you now have to monitor that in order to sustain your business. But think about the margins there. Whereas YouTube is literally a platform where you have to pay $0 to your creators. And all you have to pay them in is ad revenue. Right. That business model is leaps and bounds ahead of Netflix.
Yeah. Google, those they're cool, but they got to figure it out. Whoever said we need to buy YouTube, from the Google camp, shout out to you, because you hire me. I need a job wherever you are at.
Very smart, but. That space is crucial to at least think about getting into. And I was hearing it the other day on some news program that, as you just said, people will look at you as if you do YouTube or even like the platform that's become popular for us, Twitch, and will say like, yo, what is this kid doing? Just playing games all day.
Yeah.
but think about the fact that kids are now realizing the potential opportunities of working smarter and not harder.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
owning that, doing something with their time that's not working for somebody 9 to 5 every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at like, I guess like the system that we all kind of grew up in and whatever, me personally, I feel it's a broken system, right? The system is made for us to be, we wake up, spend half our lives at this place where a lot of us don't even like, our jobs, come home, not have enough time and energy for our families, loved ones and all these things, get, a 2-week vacation out of the year,
Right.
where we, we're still, it's not a vacation because you're still kind of stressed and whatnot.
Right.
And, I feel like some people are now are realizing the flaws in the system and trying to get a better quality of life. Right. And to me personally, I see nothing wrong with that. Right. And this is one of the medians where, some individuals can do that. Right. How was like the Twitch for you guys? Cause it's,
Twitch was a great platform, especially during the pandemic. Cause we had nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it was a great way for us to actually stay motivated to play music, be more creative as well. Because like the platform, not only did we play music, like, we were also creating like scenes and all this stuff. Like, it made us more actually, in a sense, like computer programmers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it gave us more. It developed more of a skill that we never had before. But now that it's out, like that we're outside now.
Man, turn off the computer.
For me personally, I put on the back burner.
Okay.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Just because outside is open and I'm more doing a lot of stuff, getting a lot of bookings. People are hitting me up for design work because I do design as well. So for me, I put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was great for the time being.
I don't like to call anybody out, but how long I hit up this guy to design something for me. I don't know if it's just me or I don't know what they teach in graphic design school, but I feel like finding a graphic designer who is it just me? I don't. What do they teach you guys in graphic design? Is there a course that says wait 3 weeks to get back to people?
But you gotta,
is that in the syllabus?
But you gotta understand. I'm one of the best in the city. Okay,
all right, fair. The booked and busy. Booked and busy.
Don't play that. Don't play that. You see, don't play that. Yo, don't allow this. Don't allow him with that.
Booked and busy. Eh? All right.
The way you just agreed with that, don't allow that. Keep your foot on his neck. Don't allow them things. Because facts, before him, yo, if I wasn't dealing with a crazy price point, it was nonsense like what you're talking about. And 3 weeks was generous.
Yeah.
It would be months I'd be there like, yo, bro, I asked you for this in the summer. We're approaching winter now. I need this. Like, what is going on? And the thing with him is, he's amazing at what he does.
You
So
are.
Means everybody.
But then again, I'm probably one of the only one that's kind of doing it. Like there's a handful of us. You know what I'm saying? So. Don't worry, you're getting your stuff.
All right, okay, fair enough. See?
How about 1-2 tick I need from him too, we're not gonna go there right now.
Not just you.
And I see him weekly.
And
I saw him at lunch today.
Oh my Lord. Well, maybe summer 2024. You design my things for me still. Maybe I look forward to it.
Oh man. Anyway, we're about halfway through the show, so we're gonna take a quick break to remind you guys. Please hit that follow button, subscribe, like, comment, share, all the good stuff. Right. We're on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any of your favorite podcasting platforms.
Yep.
Just hit us up, The People's Podcast. Check out our previous episodes, some amazing content. We have amazing stories, amazing interviews, guests, and life-changing stuff that if you really take in what we're trying to say and what we're portraying for you guys to understand as a culture, it'll change your life, man.
Absolutely.
So The People's Podcast, once again, we got a senior gumboy here. Now, I mentioned a lot of things that you do at the start of the podcast. And one thing, and I keep forgetting to link you on it, is the clothing brand that you've put out.
Right. Yes.
You talk a little bit about that.
Got it on my chest here.
Pause.
Pus.
I have to put you in check now, you know. Yeah.
Got to see it, no? Not the, To be honest, I've not taken my own advice. I've been a little inconsistent with it, but I would say not to a fault of my own. I've been working behind the scenes. I had this plans for this vest, and I got it's just I got it designed, but it's not where I want it to be.
Right.
And I'm a person like, again, even why, if you look at my videos, like, they're always lit well, and I use cameras and professional cameras and stuff like that, because I want a certain look and I want a certain quality. So it's there. It's something that I started for the Caribbean culture and the diaspora beyond that, right? So I'm not trying to rush it,
Right.
but I'm also trying to keep it going so people still know that it's out there. So just wait on the new drops and whatnot. So hopefully it comes sooner than later. But
so is that, is Caribbean Love or One Love? Like, what's the brand?
Caribbean Love is the brand.
Okay.
That's kind of the main logo there on this particular shirt. It has like the one with the flags in it, just kind of like representing one Caribbean, like one vibe. Because as Caribbean people, we like to kind of bicker. Who's curry this is better than that curry that or whatever, right? Or
how do you say this curry?
Right, exactly. Or which girl can wine better? Usually it's the Jamaican girls, but I'm I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing.
Let's pump the brakes.
I'm not gonna say you've
gone too far.
It's agree to disagree. But yeah, it's we for me, again, just that love of people and culture, right? It's for me, like, what I want people to take away from me is you feel like a certain love or a certain energy from me, right? And for me, that's kind of like what I always try to bring to the table, like positive vibes, uplifting, motivating type of energy, and hopefully I can inspire others to be that way, right? So that's kind of like the inspiration behind the line, and just kind of like my whole life models and how I carry myself, right, and kind of deal with people, right? So, that's that's just kind of with the brand there.
Wicked.
Love it. I'll tie it back in terms of what we're talking about here. But I started the show Dahmer on Netflix, and boy, oh boy, is that a doozy. Have you seen it?
No, I keep hearing people talking about it on social media.
Exactly, on social media, it's a serial killer, like from the
Dahmer, the Jeffrey Dahmer.
I pronounced it wrong, but I'm watching this thing and I said, "Oh my god, this is wild." And the way I started watching it was I saw a bunch of people posting it, but one in particular was like, people have literally had to stop after every episode to detox before they continue.
That bad, eh?
And after the first episode, I could see why.
Yeah.
Right.
But I say all of that to say, these serial killers are normally, and I don't want to egg him on too much, they're normally a certain demographic, a certain...
Where's this going?
They're a certain culture, or like a certain group of people that are identifiable. And they go to cottages according to...
but
I'm not trying to say it.
They go to cottages on Caribana weekend. You know what I'm saying?
From from the Caucasus Mountains, like those type of individuals.
Yeah, foolish guy.
Yeah.
But I say that to say I was having a conversation with somebody about that same thing, and I said, "Boy, am I so thankful and blessed that I was born into a Caribbean family."
Yeah.
That taught me, because you don't see Caribbean people doing that nonsense.
What?
If anything, it's just a bunch of domestic issues, illegitimate children, and leaving the home, all of that. But there's no serial killing and that stuff.
Right.
So I say all that to say I appreciate and love the Caribbean culture. What does the Caribbean culture mean to you?
I mean, it's to me, it's everything. Like without the Caribbean culture, like I wouldn't be who I am. Like and not just like my home country of Jamaica, but like here in Toronto we're exposed to so many cultures, right? Barbados, Trinidad, of course, soca, like it's within me. And without it, like I honestly don't know where I would be or what I would be doing or what my life would be like. And for me, like I think I kind of owe it back to the culture.
Okay.
So that's why I continue to make the videos and continue to try to put it on in the spotlight and the limelight and let others who may not know about the Caribbean culture educate them a little bit, right? Because even within my videos, I still try to plot those little educational moments, right, on the culture and the people and on what it all represents, right? So yeah, it's everything.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. And part of culture, I would say, is music.
Oh, no más.
So let's talk about it. You, I guess, being Jamaican heritage, heavy into the dancehall reggae, I'm assuming. Talk about that, like your involvement, your likes, your dislikes about that culture, reggae, dancehall, soca. I mean, and then soca as well.
I actually, I came prepared. I have some questions for you guys. I feel like when you guys come, when you have guests on podcasts, you guys are always usually, leading the charge on the thing. So I actually had some question. I had a question for you guys because I know you guys DJ. You guys are, and I rate you guys. You guys are sick with it.
Respect.
And on the topic of dancehall, what are your top 3 dancehall rhythms?
That's
if it's hard, but what comes to mind, what if you could say some rhythms?
Okay, how about, do you mind if we alter your question?
For sure, but no problem.
You do the top 3 dancehall, I'll do the top 3 soca.
Okay. Top 3 dancehall. In my opinion, I'm an old, yes, I'm young, but I'm a very
old soul.
Back in 90s. So I would have to say number 1 would probably Showtime. Number 2 would probably have to be
I knew this one's gonna get you guys stuck.
just because there's so many rhythms.
Ting-a-ling.
No. Punani rhythms.
My best
Thank
friend.
you for finishing that. Man just winked at the camera. Wow.
Dirty boy. Dirty junkro.
And then maybe answer rhythm.
Okay. Which one's answer?
I'm a like a Clash fan too, right?
Yeah,
So that's why I like those rhythms. So yeah.
Boy. Soca. There's so many rhythms.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, there's a lot in dancehall too. Some that come to mind just because of the totality of the good songs on the rhythm. I think Can is probably up there.
Okay.
That's a later one.
Soca does give me many powers.
Yeah. 2014 Soca, one of the best years for Soca ever.
Yes.
Definitely. Personal favorite for me and probably makes sense is Soca Future, I believe.
Okay.
With spread your hands and let go.
Right.
Okay.
Going that year, that changed my life. That was 2013.
Okay.
And in my opinion, the best year for soca out of the 5 years that I went to Trinidad.
Yeah. 2013 was a good year. That was the year when you're just like this.
Literally,
that was,
the whole time.
Yeah.
Last, boy, it's tough. There's so many. I don't want to just call something and then.
It's going to be a romantic one when you gave a girl a sweet one. A nice romantic rhythm.
I don't know. The list is. I'm gonna just say maybe Upendo or you.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The fire go bund.
Right.
I had a lot of good songs on the rhythm. Because some rhythms come out and they're just the one banger.
Yeah.
Right.
I was trying to think of stuff that has a lot within that category that normally get played quite a bit. But yeah, those are probably my 3.
Okay.
What's the next question? On the Gumboy podcast. Line them up.
All right. Well, I saw that you were gonna come up with a course for events and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
What happened with that?
No, it's still in process.
Still bubbling.
But what happened with that realistically is just life and everything else going on. That is in the process. But again, it's kind of like what you said, and I've taken the position in the culture of understanding that yes, this has done a lot for me. It has opened up my eyes to a whole new world that I didn't care about before. And this DJing and the soca culture and Caribbean culture has literally brought me to places in the world I didn't care to go before. And I feel like it's my job to give back. And there's certain voids in the system that I feel are there as somebody who didn't have the older brother, who didn't have the father who was a DJ. And I had to rely on these platforms for that. But when I'm looking at these platforms, there's never anybody like us doing it.
Right.
True.
So that's the void I'm trying to fill in a space where I feel is more valuable, because you know it yourself. All these promoters are on the same nonsense, and it's yes, it's the same ones, but it's a cycle every time.
Right.
A new promoter pops up, one of them is bound to be like the last one you dealt with that you couldn't stand. And I'm just tired of that. So it's just trying to fix that broken cycle that's continuously going, and it's in the works. It's just
Okay. So for me, I asked because, you know, I've always kind of dibbled and dabbled in the event space myself, but never because I've always, you know, been shooting or whatever. So, and there's always, again, because my whole thing is bringing people together and whatnot. I know I kind of want to do a little 1-2, but, you know, I'm not trying to be the next, you know, who's that promoter with the crazy hair? The boxer guy, Mike Tyson's old. You know, you know.
Don, what's his name? Don
Yeah.
something.
Anyways,
yeah.
but what advice would you give, you know, or say, because you guys, you know, do your events and dope events, by the way, to someone who's, you know, trying to get in the event space and whatnot.
You go first. We'll do one.
I think the one of the most important is for a young person who is aspired to do events. The number one thing I think is just to listen. Like, don't talk, listen. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some of these young guys think that they know everything, and they think just because they see things, they think they can do it. But honestly, some of them just need to take the time to actually just listen to what the older people are saying. Because yeah, you may think you know it, but you don't know half of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think the number one thing is for these guys to just, you know, calm down, listen, take some notes, and you know,
walk before you can fly.
Right.
That's a fact. Another one for me would be, and it's something that just based off of what I've been going through recently, is trust your gut. And I say that to say you see certain patterns with people. You see how certain people are when they show you who they are up front. Believe that.
Yeah.
Because the further you go with that person,
Yeah.
the more downhill it's going to go. And you're just going to end up in more problems that you would have banked for.
Facts.
And just having yourself surrounded by love, you will feel that. You're going to know who is there for you or who is there for the money. And once you realize that and surround yourself with that, the money's going to come.
Right.
You could treat those people as they deserve to be treated. But because they're there for the love, they're not there thinking, okay, well, this guy's never going to go anywhere. Let me just get out of here. And once you're doing things for love, that will all be reflected in the results of what you do.
So let me ask, it was kind of another question I had, you know, because we all, you know, Toronto youths and whatnot. And Toronto is kind of known for being the screw face capital, right? And I feel like there's like somewhat parallels in like Toronto culture and that screw face mentality, and kind of somewhat the Caribbean culture, and like, you know, that you know, saying kind of crabs in a bucket kind of you know mentality. Do you think we have gotten better in Toronto? Are we out of the screw face?
To be honest, I don't really go out that much. And if I do, I'm not trying to talk to people.
I think actually,
I'm probably the guy contributing to the screw
The
face.
screw face, or not necessarily like the actual like screw face thing, but like gatekeeping.
Oh,
like that type of thing.
Oh, like dog eat dog, crab in a barrel.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
gatekeeping.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
personally think it got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. But anyway, you say why.
Well, you've been in the game longer than me. So like, since I've been in it, I think it's gotten worse from what I've seen situations where, you know what I'm saying? That's a tough topic to discuss because that's a cycle that I don't know how that's gonna be fixed.
Yeah.
All I know is that I'm doing my part in terms of changing it and trying to get people on board to change that culture because that ultimately that culture is just gonna head down destruction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's gonna switch.
Yeah.
I know that I'm just doing my part and what I can. If I'm doing an event and I see like a young up and coming DJ hit me up and you know I'm giving him game to, you know, actually go on these events and play, you know, cool, I'm doing my part. I don't know how it's gonna change though.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I personally don't think it will. And the reason I say that, as JKD said, I've been in the game a little bit longer. So I've been in about 15 years. And when I started, this was like one of the most dog-eat-dog industries that I have ever seen in my life. And it was to the point where like, you have to be seasoned very fast in order to survive in this. And if you're not seasoned, you will get trampled. And when I talk dog eat dog, like there was a point in time where you can't do a party and not book this person in hopes that they won't throw something crazy against you and flop you out.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they're going to get all the people for sure, but you're this new kid on the block trying to grasp at anybody you can. And the only way to prevent that guy from doing their party is to do yours. And you knew it was malicious if they did it.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a question. You're like, okay, they're trying to stop what I'm doing. I have to book them now. Now your margins are crazy. Your overhead is crazy because you have to pay this person X amount. But I personally am on the belief of leave those people to time. Let time deal with those people.
sure.
As much as they may be the king of the hill now and they're doing that dog eat dog stuff, time will deal with them. It's happened already multiple times, and I've seen it over the course of 15 years. They were the big dogs. All of a sudden, they're nowhere.
Yeah.
And then sometimes either they stay nowhere and you never hear from them again, or they resurface and have to change their way of thinking because they realize what happened messed them up. And it's just that simple. And if anybody's continued to stay at a peak of where they are and continue to be somebody who's not favorable per se, again, they probably have a shelf life, one, or two, that's probably their capacity. To go any higher than that, you have to be a much different person than you are. And that's what I think our industry has not come to terms with. And there's still so much more room for us to reach leaps and bounds ahead of what we've done. And that's why I would say like it's gotten way better from back in the day, but it's still, like I said earlier, the same patterns, the same nonsense through different people. And it's just like always something. And why does it have to be like that? Why can't we just be a culture that builds Caribbean love? Why can't we just be that? So that's my take on it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, because I've been doing photos for so long, I think it's gotten better. I would agree it's not quite there yet, but I think it's definitely gotten a lot better. Because even for me, like from a YouTube standpoint and stuff like that, I've been around and seen people who feel because they have a certain amount of followers or numbers that I'm not working with you, don't talk to me, that kind of vibe, and it always rubbed me the wrong way, and I always felt like you didn't just get here by chance, like it took people believing in you, it took people taking stake in you, like and for me, again, it always goes back to love, right? Like love conquers all, right? Like we, no matter who you are, we all want to be loved. We all the hardest of the hardest, man them on the block still wants their mother to love them. They still want that love, right? And is what makes the world go round. And I feel like a lot of people who have these certain attitudes, and it's just a lack of love somewhere in their life that has led them to that place to be, the asshole or whatever kind of thing, right? So, more love is my.
We could only hope. We can only hope. And again, this is what I would teach in the course. Like I would teach practical things, yes, but there's also an emotional side of it that needs to be taught. Again, you go and see the cottage people.
This guy said he has a name for them.
The cottage people.
Where did I get that name, Gerard? Where did I get that name? The people doing the videos, okay? They leave out a lot of that stuff because they're not really in tune with that, or maybe they are. Sometimes you don't really get that aspect of things, and people do need to hear that perspective in order to at least let it retain with them. And that's one thing that I want to be an advocate for in this community. And I feel like I've already done it with the DJ stuff, and I haven't even really zoned in on that. And the way that blew up and reached parts of this world that I was just blown away by. Like I'm talking Ghana, Switzerland, Germany, and my YouTube presence reached those places. So if I'm able to touch those places with what I'm saying, I want to at least do it with a positive attitude and change the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's my problem with it too.
Right.
Sorry, go
No,
ahead.
I was just saying, like, why not leave, a legacy behind, or leave some, what you've done, to impact the world behind. You know what I'm saying? Why hold it until you're old and gray? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't
What's
take
the
it
point?
with
What's
you.
the point of it? You know what I'm saying?
All this like stuff you cannot take it with you.
No.
Right?
Yeah. And worse off now is when it comes to people in the top tier positions. 9 times out of 10, they're not the most favorable of people.
Right.
They're not the nicest. And you start to question, like I've had it told to me, why are you being so nice?
Right.
You don't see
Right.
this one being so nice,
Right.
and look at how successful they are. So
Right.
you need to stop being nice sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, no, maybe that's my superpower.
Right.
Maybe that's what will get me further than them.
Right.
But a lot of people, especially from an underground or like a lower tier level, are going to look to the top to see, okay, what are they doing that is getting them to this point? Okay, they're being an asshole. Maybe I got to be an asshole.
Right.
And I just want to be that person that shows you, no, you don't have to. You could be
Facts.
stern.
Yeah.
You could hold your ground, but you don't have to be like that.
Right.
And when we say, most of us know what that means.
For sure.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between, yo, you didn't do this right.
Right.
You're off the team.
Right.
Or you didn't do this right. I don't want you working in this anymore. You
Right.
got to work here.
Right.
There's a difference between that and just literally being an
Right.
and I'm just trying to show people that you could do so much without having to be like that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
I always compare it to like a father. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you
Yeah.
did something bad, as a father, like a good father, is a father gonna like he's gonna punish you, yes, but the punishment is also teaching you not to do what you did again and teaching you the right way. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between somebody actually lashing you and actually somebody actually teaching you what you did wrong, how you can not do it again. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Big facts.
Okay. So tell me about like some of your travels, like what you've Notting Hill. I'm taking it over now. I'm taking it over now. I'm taking it over now. I mean, if you got, I mean, I got questions. I didn't go to the Notting Hill Carnival. I've been trying to go since like 2000. How long?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Ask him. Look at the smile on
Watch
his
him
face.
now?
Ask him. Yeah.
I didn't want to ask him that. I don't want to ask him that. I didn't want to ask him no more. Let's go.
All right. Notting Hill.
Notting Hill.
Amazing.
In it, bruv.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think they're very similar to us in terms of being a melting pot of different cultures.
Yeah.
Just with a whole new accent and a whole new way of living, but it's still very similar.
Yeah.
In terms of accepting that culture, the Caribbean culture, again, very similar. They love the music. They know the music, appreciate it, have similar parties that is
Even the
happens.
what I call them, the cottage girls have the wave, the finger waves over there too. Still, I see that. I watch Top Boy. See that? Got to know about that. Okay.
No, definitely I don't want to talk about it, yeah. But overall, yeah, I would say I like the culture. I've been there collective amount of like 3 weeks. So 3 different times, 1 week each. I really enjoy the culture, man. And I like how they move.
It's vibes, man. For me, it was just like I got.
Sorry. The women are sexy too. Very sexy.
Yeah. I mean,
But you can't married man though.
buff
no?
things.
You had to talk to him because you're a married man.
I am married, but I mean,
We can look.
we can say, if an individual, a lady says, she's a good looking
Yes.
woman, nothing wrong with that,
Facts.
sexy body girl. No.
For me, it just opened my eyes into other Caribbean cultures. In Toronto, we know Trinidad, we know St. Vincent, we know St. Lucia, we know Jamaica, we know all the the common ones. In London, bro, it's a whole different Caribbean, other part of the Caribbean that I did
Virgin
not
Islands? Who
know.
are they?
So like Martinique, Dominica, what else? VI, St. Kitts. What was that other one? Suriname. Like all these little islands that I did not know about.
Yeah.
They're very heavily out
there.
out in London.
To the point where like some of their biggest songs are their songs, like
Right.
the French Caribbean and Dutch Caribbean.
Right.
That's what's banging out there.
Right.
And like they have a more a grasp of the variety of cultures and music.
Right.
And I think JKD's right. We're very like mono direct.
Right.
One
The,
way.
the
Like,
top
this
the top
how-
five or
Right,
whatever kind of
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Right.
Which I believe that's a difficult one too because of how our industry was brought up with the music,
Yeah.
and it heavily relied on FM radio.
Right.
You know, at a certain point in time, obviously because of the top dogs in the industry and where they were, but FM radio was a very big influence to what people knew.
For sure.
And these days we're relying on podcasts,
Right.
streaming, etc., and just hoping that these people will listen to it instead of actively doing like, what can we do to get people to hear this
Right.
stuff?
Right.
And that's where I think the narrative changed, because now people kind of just hear the top 10, especially with influences like TikTok,
Right.
Instagram now implementing music in their stuff. And you were only able to put in the songs that are in that database.
Right.
And it's rough because it's like we get the complaints too from the soca lovers. Like, yo, we want to hear more of this. We want to hear more of that. But then
Like
we play more of it.
from like particular islands, like because I know each island has their
Yeah, but
or is that
exactly,
like
yeah.
as DJs, do you guys get that a lot?
yeah,
kinda-
like you get it. Like Dron just had his Bimfest.
Yes. Is that,
And it showed that there's a lot of people out there that will only come out because Bajan Soca was playing for the entire night.
right.
And so a lot of those people I haven't seen either in years or
Yeah.
I've never seen before, period.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's showing that it's like people want that demographic of their own or music that they like. There's certain people, I want more St. Lucia music. I want more Grenadian music. But when you're talking a very large crowd of like, let's say 1,000 people, and that corner of 50 to 100 wants this like deep down soca,
Yeah.
do you appease them? Do you appease the entire place? Or
Yeah.
do you kind of mix both?
Yeah.
And that's a very thin line sometimes,
Right.
you know?
And then the one Jamaican in the corner asking you to play dance hall in the soca fet.
Yeah, and the Bajan soul, I'm sure there was very people that asked for dancehall.
No, well, not really.
No?
They knew
They
it was
knew
it
they
was a
okay,
Beja
yeah.
Fete. So
True.
yeah,
Well,
man.
you're good for you.
Yeah.
Because I've done all soca fets.
Right.
And had people come to the DJ booth like, yo, bro, can you play some dance?
Can you
Man,
play
I
some
want to
cartel?
yeah. Exactly.
It's probably me still. Like while I'm taking a picture, yo, run a cartel.
So what's your opinion on music? Let's get back into that.
On music, I mean, yeah, it's I would say that at least once a day I listen to some, for at least 20 minutes I'm listening to some sort of music. I mean, for me, I would like to think I'm pretty diverse in my musical library. Whether it be R&B, soca, of course, dancehall, Afro beats. I'm really trying to get into the compa vibes a little bit. I'm a piano, house, all the variations within house, right? The subgenres within it. I mean, I will say the only genre I don't really, dive into much is country. I don't be boot scooting and all them thing there, like, the whole line dancing looks
Right,
fun.
right.
Maybe I'll try it if I'm in Texas one time, sure. But, I ain't buying no cowboy boots anytime soon.
But were you always into music? Because it seemed like just going to these events and doing photography there, it's like it opened your eyes to like, Afro beats, or open your eyes to I'm a piano. Like, were you always...
Yeah, I was always kind of into it. I remember, like, my dad, he was, I feel like every Jamaican man wants to be a DJ at some point too, right? So, right? Or every Caribbean man, like, let's be real. Like, every Caribbean man, like, in our,
facts.
we want to be like a DJ at some point, right? So, my dad, I know, like, back in the day, he used to, like, DJ his work parties and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
So he always had to buy, like, a bunch of CDs and stuff
Right.
like that. And even my mom... What's her name? Her. I remember one of my mom's earlier stories. When your parents like, them used to call me YLWS because okay, mom, right? So like, yeah, music was like in the house was always playing, and yeah, I've just always been a fan and consumer of music of like all genres, right? Like, and especially like coming to Canada young, watching like the much countdowns and
Right,
stuff like that, where you
right.
get exposed to different types of music, right? And as long as it sounds good and gives a vibe, like I mess with it, right?
Okay.
So I will dance hall, I'm everything,
Right,
right? I will
yeah.
say that, but yeah, I just love music.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe both of you could chime in on this, because this is a conversation I continuously hear, and that is the state of dancehall music these days. How dancehall used to be one of the top genres in the world. And still could be to an extent, but
Yeah.
a lot of the dancehall DJs, especially, I find, are saying how garbage they feel the music is these days.
Yeah,
And just not necessarily the quality of it.
Yeah.
Just more so, what are you guys singing about?
Yeah, I think that's what the point is the lyrical content of the music these days in dancehall.
Yeah.
It's like talking about guns and I mean, don't get me wrong, this was
Always something. Yeah.
there's always something, but I feel like it's more
why y'all got dead this time? I mean, you know,
I think it's just more like repetitive nonsense, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the Migos saying, huh, baby, all this stuff. Like, you know, it's just like, you know, I feel like it's going that kind of route where like it's just repetitive nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where back in the day it was actually content to what these artists were talking about. Yeah, Bounty Killer talked about, you know, having to rob stores and all this stuff, but there was a message behind it. You get what I'm saying? These days, there's no content behind it. Right.
That is what you have me in the club singing right now.
Scoop on the Glock.
that's our big tune though right now. If that's a song, I'll beat the table right now.
I'm saying it's catchy, but
It's catchy.
bro,
I mean, I look at it like, again, nothing stays the same, right? Because if like it's like when people complain about you know, hip hop or R&B, and it's like, you know 90s R&B was the best, or like, yeah, it was cool, but we also have to understand we're emotionally tied to it, right? Because we're at, you know, it kind of caught us in a certain point
Right,
where you know
right.
we're and yeah, and if we kind of hold that attitude of where things can't progress, we would be, you know, doing those type of dances and the Charleston and back in, like, you know, if things didn't progress, right?
Right.
So I respect the progression in that sense, but I think like what I notice with dancehall now, it's just there's a greater hip hop influence, like within the rhythms,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you're kind of more used to that that, you know, that doom doom kind of rhythm, then you're not gonna feel it as much. And I guess it's kind of moved I guess farther from, I guess, the roots, I guess, in dancehall with that doom doom kind of rhythm, and more to that hip hop kind of vibe. And to me, I mean, it just is what it is for me. Like, that's just kind of how I look at it. It is what it is. You know, there's certain songs and certain artists that you'll mess with, and yeah, you know.
I mean, they're calling it trap dancehall. So
Yeah.
what does that say?
Yeah, exactly. And I think even within, like, because I feel like hip hop and dancehall are, you know, cousins, right?
Yeah.
You know, let's be real.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for dancehall, there wouldn't be hip hop.
Hip-hop,
You know,
correct.
check your facts, people. For all those people who think that, you know, check your facts, right? And even if like hip hop, like it transitioned to now with, again, that Migos just type of style,
Right.
and you know, it just is what it is. You either you enjoy it, you don't, but you know, nothing stays the same. So
Yeah, true. I feel like there's so much talent in dancehall and reggae in general. Like, for instance, somebody I have to sit there and be like, what is this man really singing? But he sounds amazing. It's next to Dabs.
yeah,
I listen to the content
don't
of the
listen to
song,
the
like,
lyrics?
bro. And sometimes I have to pull up the lyrics because
Yeah.
you don't
Oh, you
know
don't
the
know?
full patois. and I
Right,
can't
right.
understand. I
Yeah,
want
right,
to,
right.
but I really like.
No,
bro.
he be
Right.
singing like
Some raunchiness, but it sounds amazing. So it's like if you channel that to like blessings,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
leader, you
Yeah.
could do
Right.
justice with the music.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I sing Twinkle. I said, wait,
all
man.
night.
Yeah,
But do you see that last thing he did? They should have given him a towel.
where they went in.
BBC, why didn't you give the man a towel? Why
But,
somebody couldn't give the man a
but,
towel?
Bro,
throughout
nobody
the whole
else was
performance?
sweated. Nobody else was sweated. The bass player was playing. He was jamming. He wasn't sweated. So I don't know what's going on, bro.
I don't know what.
One of them tweets that killed me was they're like, is he performing in hell? Like, what?
That's what happens when you have too much people's gal wine on you. You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
drunk girl.
He moving. He's doing his thing.
No,
Artists like that, I love the talent. I just wish it would be zoned in the right.
Yeah, and again, going back to like the correlation of hip hop, like if we see like hip hop, there's a slew of artists who we can say like their you know, their need for lyricism isn't like at their forefront.
Right.
Like they're more showy type of artists.
Right.
And I think same with dancehall. We're in that era now where like the actual talent that you needed isn't as forefront, and people will kind of let you in more.
You're right.
Right. So it's that's just kind of
I
what we're
do
experiencing.
remember seeing an interview with Skilly Ben. I think it was in the UK too, and he's like, "Yo, like, what this generation wants to hear now is just all that, wop 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 wop." But like when he does perform songs with content, it doesn't get played.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't get paid. So why is he gonna do something that's not gonna get played, where he could do something where it gets played and it's bumping and he's getting paid for it?
And
Yeah.
it's the worst is I feel like when it comes to the music in itself, I think it's generational as well. Like you said,
Yeah.
this generation wants to hear a certain type of thing. Because what we were listening to, our parents were probably like, "What is this
What is
nonsense?"
this? Exactly.
Facts.
But we hold it to high regard,
Facts.
and it's sad because it's like, are you really gonna go to your kids 30 years down the road and like pull out the dusty record?
Right. Facts.
Wop wop wop
Yeah,
wop
yeah.
wop. Come on,
Facts.
it's what, who am I? It's
Yeah.
this generation. They love it.
Right.
Because another example of that is Kanye.
Right.
He had some of the best works of art ever
Right.
in our generation. But nowadays he's putting out what we consider nonsense.
Right.
But you can't dispute the millions of sales that he gets.
Facts.
And it's because these kids love that and they
Right.
eat that up. So
Yeah, it's what they want. But sorry to my future grandchildren, but I'm gonna be daggering at the family function. So I'm just letting you guys know from now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
well, see, we have a couple more final speed rounds before we get out of here.
Let's do
You
it.
have anything else you like to?
No, going back to like your businesses, I came across something, and we were talking about inspiring the young generations to do, or helping them do what they want to do. I came across your page, and I saw that you have an initiative into helping young content creators. Speak more about that, like that business.
Yeah. So it's Light Trails.
Okay.
Is what it was, and it's again, I've been doing photography for so long now, like over 10 years, and in some regards, I look at myself as somewhat of a master, right?
Right.
As the term hybrid shooter, shooting photos, videos, and the my own content and content for people, and dealing with a lot of business that I found, especially these days, because everyone has their, the kind of side hustles or things they're doing.
Right.
But the content is always kind of, I wouldn't say subpar, but just not as where it could be.
Right.
And, I figured it would be a benefit to teach people how to, shoot photos or videos for themselves or whatever need they want. And that was kind of the initial thought. And the first walk I did, I had a couple of young people, and going back to inspiration and just thinking about what art in the form of photography did for me, right? And art in the form of music or art in any aspect, right? What it does for people and how it opens people's minds, and especially people who are in neighborhoods or situations where art isn't at the forefront.
Right.
And you kind of I figured through this I can hopefully inspire some youth or some people to get in touch with their creative sides, and so I started the whole Light Trails things and the Light Trails initiative, and it's basically a photo walk where I take individuals on a walk. I teach them about photo, video, content creation, any kind of questions that they may have, like within that space.
Wicked.
And with each walk, I'm hoping to get some sponsorship spots where people, if they want to pay for a spot for a youth, and they come on the walk, I'll have the cameras,
Wicked.
all the equipment, and hopefully inspire and just share the love, and hopefully they'll share it as well.
Wicked.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Now, besides everything we talked about, is there anything we missed in terms of what you do?
What? Yeah, no, I'm joking. Before I get a box when I go home. Sorry, babes. I was doing a podcast before with my brother, my younger brother. Again, we did that kind of toward the pandemic, and I really enjoyed that space because he's a lot younger than me, and within that we kind of got to bond a little bit, and so hopefully at some point I want to continue that. The plan was to kind of get the last episode we did was with my younger sister, because there's 3 of us. I'm the oldest, she's the middle, and my brother's the youngest. And we're hoping I want to get my mom on it. I want to get my dad, and I want to get some friends, in different spaces. And I really want to talk about family dynamics within the Caribbean community and whatnot, right? So at some point, hopefully we can get that going. But yeah, I'm hoping to starting to travel a little bit more with the photography. So any promoters out there in the UK, in it, bruv, I've been practicing,
You have to book man,
right?
bro.
Yeah, book man's bruv on the thing, eh?
Give him some food,
Right?
innit?
Yeah. So I'm really trying to spread my wings and travel more. Hopefully when a graphic designer gets back to me and I can get
Get him.
hopefully I can get this. I have this game in the works that I want to get out to the people, and hopefully I'll travel with that and just really see the world, meet people, spread positive vibes and energy, and hopefully inspire others to just live good, right?
Absolutely. Let's talk about that hat that you wear, the husband hat.
Mm-hmm.
So the growth of your relationship, getting to the point of marriage, and how marriage has been.
Well, we're not officially married. She's like, we're still in that boyfriend girlfriend stages. There's she ain't put a ring on it. All of that. But no, she's great. It's been 4 years now.
Awesome.
Things did really, it's just funny how the universe works.
Yep.
For me, I was at a point where I was kind of like, I said to myself, I'm not really looking for a relationship. I just kind of want to rediscover me. Like that's where I was. And then I met her, and like you're saying, trust your gut, go with your gut. And there was just something about her. She was just different. She just had a different vibrant energy, and things that we spoke about of our life goals, it seemed to match, right? Where we saw ourselves with our what lifestyle we wanted, and even like at the time I stopped eating meat, and it just so happened that she was kind of on that similar vibe, and we were dating for not too long, and then we kind of man's jumped in, full feet in there, and yeah, 4 years later it's been great. And anyone who's in a relationship, it's not always great, but it's worth it. And yeah, it's my bae right there.
Love it. Because last week we titled the episode "Celebrating Black Love." So, it's good to shed light on that experience. Now, the speed round that we normally do with special guests, we usually have 4 topics that we discuss weekly.
Okay.
And those 4 topics, I'll call them out one by one.
All right.
And just say the first thing. If it's one word, if it's a sentence, a thought, first thing that comes to your mind, you can say it when I call it out, right?
All right.
So the first one, relationships.
Work.
Good answer. Second one, health.
Wealth. Health is wealth.
Okay.
Third one is wealth.
Wealth.
Don't say health.
Oh, no. Wealth. Abundance, right? But I think it's just you attract wealth. I think if I can really go into it, I mean, abundance is what, because we all want wealth and abundance. But if I can go into it, like as I've been learning, I've dropped the whole thing about the universe again. It's kind of like the energy you put out there. It just kind of comes back to you, right? And if you do it the right way, that's one of the ways it will come back to you.
Awesome. Last but not least, entertainment.
People, like it's for the people, right?
Love it.
For the
Love it,
people's podcast.
Love it. I guess last question for me before we head out of here that I kind of always wanted to. I think I may have asked you this before. Have you ever thought of doing stand-up?
Yes, I have done stand-up. I can't remember the year, but it was, again, one of the years when, a lot of things were happening. I'm the type of person, it's like, I'll try it if I haven't done it. No, especially if no matter how scary it may be, because stand-up it's a scary thing, right? And I got to try it at least once to know I don't like it. Right. So I've done it a few times. It was great. But for me, it's one of those things that like I don't really like to take it lightly, because it's like you have to work at it.
work,
And I recognize the work that you have to put in and whatnot. And for me, like my lifestyle, it just wasn't conducive to my lifestyle.
Right.
And it's something that I think it's, it's one of the things that's over the years has been calling me to do. And when the time is right, I'll get back up there.
Okay.
I've been writing some, it's in the stand-up, list. So
I see you brought your notes today, so you're very well prepared. I see that.
write stuff down.
That is a good point, and something I've never even thought to articulate for myself. Like certain things require an attention to detail that you may not have at that point in time, which is like what you just asked about the event-based webinar. And like that requires a serious, sense of detail and attention that just don't have the time for. So amazing interview, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for coming by. Senior Gum Boy.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
know.
Last question. You ever thought about changing the name? Or using another name as like another alias?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I feel now like what I usually do now is just SGB.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be in a basketball tournament coming up in November. So hopefully I don't break my legs and get embarrassed because I haven't played ball in a very long time. So so I put SGB on. They told me what I want on my jersey, so I just acronym for them. So SGB for the short form. But at this point, it's kind of solidified. So
Dope.
Nice.
yeah.
All right, man. So where can they find you?
On all social media platforms, Senior Gumboy at Senior Gumboy SENIORGUMBOY. Hit me up on Instagram. If you need some photos too, I do that. Let me know.
Big up Senior
Right.
Boy, man.
So,
You'll
Yeah.
definitely be the photographer at a lot of our events to come.
Right.
He's already been at both of our events.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, man, the People's Podcast. We want to thank you guys for listening to another episode. We appreciate you, and thank you once again, Senior Gumboy, for passing through.
Yes, sir.
It's been another episode, and this is the People's Podcast. We are out.
Peace.